Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 14, text number 51. Maitreya Uvacha Shrutva Bhagavatam Pautram Amodata Ditir Brisham Putrayoscha Vadam Krishna Viditvasin Mahamanaha. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The sage Maitreya said, hearing that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her sons will be killed by Krishna, Diti was highly pleased in mind. Purport. Diti was very aggrieved to learn that because of her untimely pregnancy, her sons would be demons and would fight with the Lord. But when she heard that her grandson would be a great devotee and that her 2 sons would be killed by the Lord, she was very satisfied. As a wife of great sage and daughter of a great Prajapati, Daksha, she knew that being killed by the personality of Godhead is a great fortune. Since the Lord is absolute, His acts of violence and non-violence are both on the absolute platform. There is no difference in such acts of the Lord. Mundane violence and non-violence have nothing to do with the Lord's acts. A demon killed by Him attains the same result as one who attains liberation after many, many births of penance and austerity. The word Brisham is significant herein because it indicates that Diti was pleased beyond her expectations. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 3rd Canto, 14th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. So this is the end of this chapter, titled Pregnancy of Diti in the Evening. And here it is said that Diti was very pleased in the end, though she was very aggrieved in the beginning when Kashyapa Muni told that because of the wrong time of conception, she would bear 2 demons as her children, and she was very much aggrieved to hear that. And further, Kashyapa Muni gave her some relief by saying that she would also have a grandson who would be a great devotee of the Lord. That is obviously Prahlad Maharaj. And then Kashyapa Muni elaborated the wonderful qualities of this great devotee Prahlad, grandson would be born, how he would spread happiness to the entire society, and how he would relieve the distress on the earth by his qualities of glorifying the Lord everywhere. So by his association, how it would be a great asset to the entire humanity. So hearing all this, she was very pleased to think that she is a grandmother of such a wonderful devotee as Prahlad Maharaj. And further, when she heard that the Lord Himself would kill the 2 demons, she was again further happy because That's one of the things she asked, let my sons not get cursed by the Brahmanas. Wrath of Brahmana should not fall upon them. But here, Kashyapa Muni relieved her by saying that no, these two demons will be killed by the Lord himself. And she, being a great devotee of the Lord, she understood the principle that the Lord is killing someone, then it is a great fortune. There are so many ways in which we are killed. We are killed by normal death, by Kala, in so many different types of death. But when Krishna kills, it is his personal act. So personally when the Lord does something, killing or not killing, violence or not violence, as Prabhupada says, it is all a blessing. Because the Supreme Lord is all auspicious. Being all auspicious, anything connected with him, even if he becomes angry, one will be blessed. Eventually one will be blessed. So that is the situation of all the demons who got liberated by being killed by the Lord. Not that they would get bhakti, but at the same time they'll get liberated, because liberation itself from this material world is not an ordinary thing. Because to come out of this prison house itself is not an ordinary thing. Come out of the entanglement of three modes of material nature itself and realize that one is Brahman, that itself is not an ordinary thing. It requires so much of austerity, so much of tapasya one has to do to actually realize one is not this body and come out and be liberated. For the material energy to leave grip of the soul is not easy. So that is easily sanctioned by the Lord when he kills somebody. So all this is the absolute nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ultimately, whatever, as Prabhupada says, Kardama Muni and this Kashyapa Muni and Diti, they were great souls. They were not ordinary souls. Being great souls, whatever, even if some mistake happens in their life, Krishna turns that into a blessing. As you are seeing here, even though it was considered to be sinful and to have conceived at that particular time, still, ultimately the end result in the long term is blessed by the Lord. So the Lord is always like this. Even though he punishes his devotees, his punishment is turns out to be a blessing. Because the devotee's ultimate wish is actually to surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, to be an obedient servant of the Lord. So when that is the ultimate wish of a devotee, in between, in the process, if the devotee commits some mistakes, commits some sinful activities, the Lord is extremely compassionate and kind, and then he converts that into a blessing. He'll get some reaction, some kind of thing, whatever the Lord decides, but ultimately he will be blessed. But at the same time, devotees, they do not take advantage of this compassion of the Lord. Lord is infinitely compassionate to those who are his devotees, and accordingly he adjusts their life in such a way, he adjusts their laws of karma also in such a way, he gives the intelligence to the living entity to dodge the kala in such a way that ultimately he becomes more purified by the reactions that he may get. So those who are surrendered to the Lord, it's not that they are free from reactions for their actions. Only difference is the Lord is in charge of the spiritual master, and Krishna is in charge of their karma. That is the point. keeping in mind, protecting their bhakti, keeping in mind, teaching some things which will add to their bhakti. The karma of the devotee is managed by the Lord and the spiritual master. The internal spiritual master, Chaitya Guru, super soul, who knows everything about us. So he manages our life. That is the meaning of surrendering our lives to the Lord. We surrender our life to the Lord and to the spiritual master, and the spiritual master is the external manifestation of the super soul. So yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadat. So by following the instructions of the spiritual master, or trying to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, the super soul is pleased, and by combination of both, the wonderful transformation happens where the devotee learns things from his own karma. That is actually the meaning of saying that the spiritual master takes one's karma at the time of initiation. Obviously, it does not mean that, we become karma free. If we become karma free, then we don't have body at all. Unless karma is there, body is not there. Prabhupada gives example of how the cat carries a kitten between its teeth with affection. And between the same teeth, the cat carries a mouse to kill, to crush. So, once you become initiated, then you will be still within the teeth of Mother Nature. But Mother Nature's bite will not be like how she bites how the rat is bitten by the cat. It is bites in a way in which it's under the supervision of the Lord, so that the devotee, increases his Krishna consciousness. Of course, this does not apply to offenses, other sinful activities. Yes, offenses the Lord Lord does not support. He does not interfere. The actions of the offenses, they immediately react upon them. It can lose. That is one reaction. The reaction to offenses is one thing which won't be so easily converted into benefit, unless the person who is offended, he is also on par with the Lord. So he also sometimes the chastisement is done directly by the spiritual master. He also has a greater interest of the disciple in mind, and it will be his blessing. So anytime chastisement from not only from the Lord, from his devotees also should be viewed upon as special mercy of the Lord. And then one is undisturbed by whatever happens in one's life, because he understands that I am at the lotus feet of the Lord, I am sheltered by my spiritual master. With that spirit, one tries to become a better and a better servant, more obedient, more surrendered, more dedicated to serve the spiritual master. With these things, automatically the devotee's path is already secured. Just like Mother Diti is very pleased. In the same way, at the heart, depth of our heart, we should be very pleased. Why? Because here, she is pleased because prediction is there that, she will have a grandson who will be a great devotee of the Lord. She is pleased by that. Similarly, why we should not be pleased by the fact that we already got our spiritual master, however rascal I am. My Guru has assured me that I will go back to Godhead. My Guru has assured me that he's taken responsibility of my life. So when I have a wonderful spiritual master who has taken responsibility for my life, what is there for me to worry? Nothing. When he has taken responsibility for my life, then my life is only for him. to take responsibility for him. What is his mission? I shall take responsibility. So the devotee who is surrendered to the spiritual master never bothers about his own self much. Only as a matter of duty, some things what he has to do to keep the body and soul together according to his different varna and ashrama, he may execute in an unattached manner. But he is never deeply concerned about all those things. He is never deeply stressed about all those things. Because he fully believes that I am under the protection of my Lord. And my Guru is protecting me. And my business is only to serve him. In that sense, if you say, the devotee is already in a liberated platform. Devotion service is executed. Even when he is doing mixed devotion service, it's almost like in a liberated platform. If he is sincere about his devotion service, and his mixed devotion service is due to his own anarthas, it is only due to that, then Krishna will always forgive. One does not have to be completely become purified in order to be directed and blessed by the internal energy of the Lord. You stand under the umbrella of the instructions of this pure devotee, instructions of spiritual master. Try to follow all the instructions of spiritual master. Already you are perfect. Without being perfect, you are perfect. That's what Prabhupada says. By following the perfect, without being perfect, you become perfect. And then, continuing like that, you really become perfect. By following the perfect, we become perfect. So this is the advantage of the mercy of the Lord, which is directly coming in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, because Lord himself is there, and then this devotion service is granted to living entities in this Kali Yuga, simply for chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and which is not even possible in other yugas, with so many different kinds of austerities. All that is possible by having faith in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in following Srila Prabhupada's whatever process he has given, Pancharatrik Vidhi, deity worship, and then Bhagavata Vidhi, hearing the Bhagavat, our life becomes perfect. And because of this, the devotee is always happy. Happiness is something which is very deep. You have to decide to be happy. And the devotees are the only living entities who are the only people who can bona fidely feel happy. Others illusorily can create, oh, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. But we are actually happy because we are protected, cared for, loved, maintained, developed, everything by the Supreme Lord who is in our heart. What more is required? Every other living entity is in confusion, is in want of different things. When one is insecure, then he wants so many things. When one is secure, he does not want anything. When he is secure at the lotus feet of the Lord, he does not want anything. What does he need? He only wants to serve the Lord. So many wonderful things in this chapter we have seen. Wonderful lessons we have received through this chapter, where Diti made this mistake and different aspects of lust was discussed in different purports by Srila Prabhupada, how one has to control one's senses. If not for this, if one does not have self-control, then one would attract the reactions of the material nature. Every step is dangerous in this material world. And that too, it was not something really in the normal sense of illicit sex or anything. Diti was Kashyapa's wife, and that too she wanted a progeny. That was the cause she was sentenced for sex, but she did it at the wrong time, and that is the cause of all these things. Ultimately we know that all these things are Leela of the Lord. They are all stage played. Different devotees are given different roles to play. That is the reason why Kashyapa Muni is able to see the future and say that there will be 2 demons born, and there will be Prahlad Maharaj, there will be a grandson who will be a devotee, etc. Any questions?
The spiritual master and the protection of the Lord.
Pardon?
Having deep faith in the in spiritual master and the Lord, it appears in an interval to us. Sometimes it comes and it goes. But how to internalize the same thing, that it becomes our very nature, that subconsciously we could exercise that on a regular basis?
By more and more association with people who have faith, number 1. Number 2 is knowledge is a foundation of faith also. There is some knowledge and then there is faith. Faith is not standing without any knowledge. There is knowledge, and based on that knowledge you have faith. You know Krishna is almighty and he will protect. You have heard about Krishna's nature, God's nature, compassionate, protective to surrendered souls. That knowledge gives you faith that if I depend upon him, he will not let me down. So which means 2 things we have to do is to hear more and more about the Lord's relationship with his devotees and his various pastimes by which he has actually always protected the devotees. By hearing that more and more, our faith also increases. And then associating with devotees who have that faith is also, these are 2 ways by which you can increase our faith. And how do we, not only hearing about this, after that we have to remember, smaranam. We have to remember about the Lord's wonderful loving activities with his devotees. We have to smaranam, we have to remember that again and again. Then as you said, it goes into the subconscious. It goes into the subconscious, then it awakens our soul's original faith. Conscious mind first, faith in the conscious mind is triggered. Then by smaranam, by contemplation, that settles into your subconscious mind. From the subconscious mind, it settles, it awakens your original faith in the spiritual master and Krishna, unflinching faith. So it is a process. We have to put ourselves through the process. Whatever Prabhupada has asked us to do, if you do all those things, what has Prabhupada asked us? Read his books. What has Prabhupada asked us? Associate with devotees. See, already it's there. Simply do what Prabhupada said properly, faith will increase. Jai Gurandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.